And welcome back, everyone, to Box Office Report today on the 22nd of February, 2026. And you know what? Look, I didn't get the box office completely right, but I was right in something. I'm very vindicated in the way I approach the situation. Go usurps Wuthering Heights for the number one spot, making 17 million, dropping about 35.5%. Wuthering Heights still hangs in the second spot, 14.2 million. I Can Only Imagine 2 debuts at 8 million. Crime 101 made our 5.7 million, dropping almost 60%. And Send Help still likes to hang around at $4.5 million. Goat and Wuthering Heights. I think that's really our two big ones, because none of the major releases this week did much. Goat currently stands at $102 million. It's made on, roughly speaking, $85 million. And as I deduced, but as I speculate, I really don't think this thing has a huge marketing budget, quite frankly. I think they'd be lucky I think it'd be impressive if they actually said it had $50 million in marketing, because I'd ask the question, where the hell did it all go? I barely remember seeing the marketing for this movie at all. If I'm on the conservative side of things, max it out as much as I think, I'm willing to bet it's more like a $35 to $40 million budget. If it's 35, then you're looking at a film that's made on, within reason, $120 million. If it's made on about 40, then you're looking at something that's made on $125 million. Either way, it's a film that doesn't even have to hit 200 to break even. Now, it's not close to that yet. It's only a little over halfway. But the fact is, if we actually look at what the drop-off was this week, it only dropped 37.5%. And I think this lends itself to two things. One, it's an entertaining film. It's a fun film. I wouldn't say it's a fantastic blockbuster, best animated film of the year type movie, but it's a good film. It's a fun, short. I think it's only like at a minute 30 something. Minute 40, not even 2 hours. That's with credits and everything else. So it's more like a minute 30. It's an hour and a half. Quick sit, fun film, bright, colorful. The sports sequences are actually a lot of fun. Fun characters. Moto's the man. And it has the advantage. Like I said, there are no animated films, like true animated films, things that are going to actually be competing with this thing, coming out from here till Mario Brothers. That's not until early April. That means you have all of February, or what's left of February anyway. So this is its second week. You had pretty much a month and a half to almost 2 months worth of time for this thing to rake in the profits. Zootopia has pretty much done its run now, so it's not really going to be we're not going to be seeing that compete with this. So we'll have to wait and see. The international is still going to be rolling out for this film as well. So we really got to keep our eyes, if we want this to succeed, we got to keep our eyes on both these numbers quite a bit. But look, 17 million, taking less than a 40% drop is a great sign for any movie. It doesn't matter how much you ultimately made opening weekend. If you're dropping less than 50%, that's nothing but gravy at that point. That's a great sign. Wuthering Heights dropped about 56%, which, honestly, is right around where I thought. I think I predicted somewhere in the mid 50s to low 60s for the drop off this week, because it had the advantage of opening on Valentine's Day. So it had the Valentine's Day rush. Still didn't open to more than 34 million, or 32 million, which is actually kind of sad when you think about it. But still, it had a decent opening for what it's worth. It's only made on 80 million. I'd be willing to bet around 50. 50 seems like the right number for what the marketing was on this. So you're looking at a film made on 130. That means this film has to make, roughly speaking, in the neighborhood of, I'm doing the math in my head real quick here, so about actually right around the same as a little more than Goat it has to make, but not much more. Like, it has to make right around 200. If it makes 200, I think we can safely say this film is relatively profitable. Relatively. But that being said, it's Goat, meanwhile, has to make more like closer to like 190, and it'll be fine. So I think on the trajectory we're looking at here, Wuthering Heights will be profitable. It'll be honestly, if we actually look at everything out right now, it's going to be the first profitable film of 2026, which is, I mean, look, we're nearing the end of February. That is saying something, because that's not true. Solo Mio and Iron Lung are both profitable, but they're very low budget. One's an indie film, so Iron Lung is its own holy crapness. Like, that thing, the film actually managed to like pull in all that money, which is insane to say the least. Which, by the way, I'm not seeing it here, so I think it might have finally gotten pulled because it was limited in its run. But other than that, and Solo Mio, which is barely profitable, but profitable. I don't know if there's really any films been released this year that you can say are profitable, but Wuthering Heights looks like it's going to be the first true profitable film of 2026. And I guess the reason for that is it is based off an existing source material that people have read, enjoyed. While it's not a movie for me, I can acknowledge all the good filmmaking going into it. It's shot really fantastic. I think it's paced a little. They drag a little bit on some pacing, but otherwise it's paced fairly well. And whether you like these characters or not, the acting is fantastic. So, yeah, I mean, it's certainly got a lot going for it. And Jacob Elordi, I keep saying Elordi, but it's Jacob Elordi and Margot Robbie are two insanely attractive and hot stars. So, like, physically and, I mean, like, star-wise. So, they got that going for them, too. So we'll have to wait and see where Wuthering Heights ultimately lands, particularly because unlike GOAT, which is still going to have to run the gauntlet of, major releases coming out. Oh, you know what? I've been saying GOAT isn't going to have any competition. I have been completely sleeping on Hoppers. Hoppers is a roadblock for GOAT. It is. Now, Hoppers hasn't had the heaviest of marketing either, but it is a Pixar animated film. I completely forgot Hoppers was the thing. Okay, GOAT might struggle now. I really didn't put that. I don't know how I didn't put that together, but it's gonna. GOAT will actually struggle. Not this week because there's no animated film coming out with Scream 7, but the following week with The Bride and Hoppers. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, Wuthering Heights, but Wuthering Heights does still have other issues besides GOAT, because GOAT really just has to worry about other animated films. Wuthering Heights has to worry about everything else. Romantic comedies or romantic-based movies of, passion, romance, they are still subject to, what's the best way to put it? They're still subject to fall into new release issues. What I mean by that is when new releases come out, they will struggle because, more people want to go to those new releases because the genre isn't as niche. It's not as 4-quadrant. It's not even 4-quadrant, whereas animated family films are 4-quadrant. So, I can only imagine two. Bart Lillard, lead singer of Mercy Me, faces a personal crisis at the peak of his success. As the world unravels, he struggles with his beliefs and inner demons while seeking a path through adversity. Woohoo, Lionsgate. You need some more. I mean, Lionsgate managed to get a huge win with Housemaid, which I believe Housemaid is still here. Is it pretty much done its run? Yeah, Housemaid's pretty much done its run. The Housemaid came out and saved Lionsgate's ass last year. Seriously, financially, like it kept them from basically being, at least on the movie side of things, completely in the negative. If I really did the math, they're either just barely in the negative or broke even. So yeah, good for him. Who would have thought that would have made more money over a John Wick-esque action film? Let's see here. Crime 101. But yeah, I can only imagine 2 made $8 million. It is a faith-based type of thing, if I'm not mistaken. Drama, but I know it's got some faith-based stuff in it. Again, I've gone on record about why it's not really my cup of tea. Once in a blue moon, I'll see something that's got that going on, but generally speaking, I don't. And that's nothing, no shame to anyone who enjoys them. I'm going to be very clear, no shame to anyone who's enjoying them. Just not my thing. Crime 101 made $5.7 million. Okay, Crime 101's interesting. I heard this is actually a really damn good film that I probably should have gone out and seen, but there was literally like 3 movies coming out that week. I only saw 2 because I could only handle that. Unfortunately, it's made on like $80 million, and it's making like right now $46 million. If it had opened to like say 20-something million, we might be having a different conversation. But the fact is, it dropped almost 60%. it's sad, but Chris Hemsworth, outside of the Thor movies, can't really seem to catch a break as a lead man. And that's through no fault of Chris Hemsworth. I feel like the projects he picks are not marketed very well or just not the best quality of films. I mean, there was that Black Hat film he did. I know that Rush is different because Rush actually had some like Oscar buzz around it and stuff like that. That one he did with Daniel Bruhl. Um, I mean that he did the Men in Black International. That one, I don't mind that movie. I actually had fun with that movie. Him and Tessa Thompson together again after Thor Ragnarok. They work well together. I thought the movie was fun, but it didn't really do all that well. The truth of it is, quite frankly, I think it did lose some money. It made like $200-something million, but still lost some money. And to be fair, while I like the movie, that doesn't mean the movie is necessarily great. They did a sequel to Snow White and the Huntsman, where it's just Huntsman Winter Wars, and I didn't mind the movie, but it was like a movie that just didn't need to be made, despite the fact. But it was really just coming down to the fact that the movie just made so much money. You're like, we gotta try another one, see what happens. He has like guest spots in or guest roles in like what was that vacation film that came out a while ago with Ed Helms. But in terms of like a vehicle that he leads, he just has In the Heart of the Sea. I liked In the Heart of the Sea personally. It didn't do necessarily the best, but yeah, he can't seem to like find a movie where he himself is the lead, where he's not Thor, to actually make a decent amount of cash. And I don't know if that's the company, but again, I commented on this before, but between The Mercy, Crime 101, and a couple other Amazon films that have come out recently, Amazon needs to know how to. I mean, Amazon has all the money in the world. Like, you want to talk about a studio here that actually has money? Amazon has money, but it's one thing to have money. It's another to know how much to actually put towards a movie. Like, again, at $80 million, I wonder how much of that went towards just the actor's salary. Like, how much of that went to paycheck? Because you got Mark Ruffalo, you got Chris Hemsworth, you got Halle Berry. Each one of those guys is going to be a few million each. So, I mean, let's just say 10 million of that was somehow allocated to those three, and then between those three and the rest of the like performers. But that's still 80 or 70 million on the table. I don't know if that. Just looking at it, I don't know if that was a $70 million film or not. I could have seen it being a $50 million film, in which case it still wouldn't be profitable, but it'd be a hell of a lot less of a loss. And Mercy was another one where it was, I think Mercy is still somewhere on here, isn't it? No, Mercy's gone. Mercy was another one where it was made on like 50 million. I'm sorry, he's literally in just a room for the majority of the movie, from what I can tell. It's not one. He could have probably done it on half the budget easy, and you would have been fine. So I don't know. And then Elvis. Oh, sorry. How to Make a Kill. Oh, sorry. No, one more. Send Help made $4.5 million. It's another film that unfortunately doesn't look like it's going to really make its money back, but it keeps bringing people back. It's taking small enough drops that could maybe eke out a profit in the long run. Who knows? Good for it though. I heard it was a pretty good movie. How to Make a Killing. If I remember correctly, this got Glenn Powell. It's comedy, drama, thriller. I didn't ever see a trailer for it. I only knew about it, I think, from looking up like about the like upcoming movies and stuff like that here. Epic Elvis Presley in concert. I mean, look, it's not in the top 5, but it's in the top 10, which I guess shows you how little of stuff is out right now. Beyond that, it was a limited release on 325 screens. It gets a wide release this week. So there's actually a very strong chance this could actually go up this week, depending on how many screens they actually give it. Solo Mio made $2.5 million, 21.8 million, so might as well round up to 22. If the marketing budget is in fact 10 million, though I think it's probably more like a 5 or 7, then this movie's profitable. Or at the very minimum, it broke even, or it's just over profitable. If it was around 10 million at most, then it's still profitable. So, or just barely though. So good on them. I heard it was actually a pretty fun pretty nice little film. Zootopia 2. Now you would think the Zootopia 2, after it was like at 1,830,000,000-ish, isn't going to climb much higher. It's at 1,848,000,000 this week. Is it? I mean, it's $51.5 million away from 1.9. It's not going to hit 1.9. Is it? I don't think it will. But I also didn't foresee a jump from like from another $15-18 million. So, and still able to eke out a couple million this weekend as well. So, will it? I don't know. It doesn't need to. Let's be very clear. This is just me speculating on what I'm seeing. I'm like, this thing just keeps trudging along. I don't have a good answer. Stranger things have happened. Stranger things have freaking happened. Again, I don't think it will. I really don't think it will. But will I roll over shocked if it will? Surprisingly, no. I'd be impressed more than anything else. Avatar Fire and Ash, 1.8 million this week. 1,473,000,000.7 million worldwide. Another one that kind of keeps taking these jumps because of the international, because they're probably of other places finally getting it. Look, if it's going to cross one more big milestone, it will cross the $1.5 billion. Let me go through the rest of these real quick, and then we'll look at the worldwide numbers real quick. Psycho Killer, kiss, don't care. Run away. Good luck. No, I have fun. I believe it's at like 8 million or something like that. No, that it really just has a domestic release. Dracula's like around 40 million worldwide. Man, you want to talk about a film that came and went like a fart in the wind? Oh man. You would think you couldn't make much lower than last film. Oh, hold their beer. Marty Supreme. Is Marty Supreme and like, hey, you know what? Marty Supreme, I think, can now be officially called a profitable film. So good for Marty Supreme. There really isn't anything else to talk about. So let's quickly give our predictions for next week. And I believe the only true big release is going to be Scream 7. Despite these saying wide is relative, it's going to be Scream 7. And that's going to be number one. Guaranteed that's going to be number one. But I would still put Goat at number 2. I'd still put Wuthering Heights at number 3. After that, it depends on how many screens Elvis gets. If they add an extra 1,000 some odd screens, but you know what? It probably wouldn't go much higher than maybe like 4 million. But I bet you're more likely looking at just like a very, very small drop instead, because that's kind of how that works a lot of the time. Unless it gets like 2,000 screens, which I don't think it will. So anyway, Scream 7, Goat, Wuthering Heights. I'm going to put I Can Only Imagine 2 at number 4, which is a weird sentence to say. And then I'm gonna go with because actually, you know what? I'm gonna go with Crime 101 simply on the grounds that Scream 7 tone-wise seems to match a bit of the tone of Send Help from what I've seen. Kind of a horror thriller, survival, little bit of like a comedic edge to it type of movie. That's gonna be my prediction. So again, I'm gonna go Scream 7, Goat, Wuthering Heights, I Can Only Imagine 2, and Crime 101. Those are going to be my predictions. But I could be dead wrong and everything. Save Scream 7. I will be your god on that. But let's check out the worldwide real quick. Just to see where everything kind of is put, or everything kind of lands at the moment. Worldwide, again, Avatar, Endgame, Way of the Water, which Endgame's getting a re-release this year. We have no idea how much it's going to make, but we know that it will be added onto the overall total. So, okay. Endgame originally held the title when its first official run of the highest grossing film of all time, up until Avatar got its re-release, and now it's currently about 124 over it. Do I think Endgame will make more than 124 or more in its re-release? Probably not likely. Is it very possible? But we got Doomsday coming out, and they might do another quick re-release with Doomsday, so you could do it back to back if you want to, not sleep. You know what? I think if you were to do something like that, the perfect way to do that, and this is because if you got like restaurants nearby or you're in a mall like mine, it's got a theater in there, you schedule the Endgame showings before, obviously, but then there's an hour intermission. You paid for your tickets, you got your seats, you can walk out, you can leave. There's an hour intermission, bathroom breaks, go get food, dinner, talk about how it's cool to see it on the big screen, talk about you're stoked, and then go see Doomsday. Which is kind of what me and my girlfriend are going to be doing for Doomsday, is see Dune first, break for dinner, see Doomsday later. So I think that'd be a perfect way to do that. And my God, you want to talk about a way to really sell tickets and really give like an experience? That'd be perfect. I would predict Endgame probably because at maybe more like 50 some odd million, which would still fully cement it as the second highest grossing of all time. Like nothing's changing there. But let's see here. Zootopia 2. Yeah, Zootopia 2 is look, I don't think it's gonna do that. I don't think it's gonna hit 1.9. But the fact is, again, I gotta reiterate this. It jumped from last week of like 1,832,3 something like that to an extra 18 million. It's not insane to think it could. It really, especially because again, it's just a film that kind of just keeps trudging along, trudging along. But speaking of which, Avatar: Fire and Ash is currently the 15th highest grossing film of all time. Again, I'm in our records explaining why Nizat 2 cannot be counted. Moving on. It's actually, look, it may or may not cross 1.5. It could still cross Top Gun Maverick, which just came a hair shy, less than 5 million away from 1.5. That's still within spitting distance if the internationals keep it up. But yeah, I mean, and then we just look at, what is currently the 200th highest grossing film of all time? Life of Pi. Life of Pi. So Life of Pi is the 200th highest grossing film of all time. Okay, good to know. Let's actually look real quick at the 1000th highest grossing film of all time, because that's how far this goes back in terms of the highest grossing of all times. You're looking at film. Okay, so currently the lowest grossing and the highest grossing of all time, 1000th, is Downton Abbey. Is it the first Downton Abbey? I think it's just Downton Abbey at $194 million. I think Wuthering Heights is definitely going to overtake that, knock it out, bump it out, and then The Intern will be there. It's kind of fun to just watch these films kind of get bopped out after a while. And if you look at like where we are, we're starting to run out of films that are less than 200 million. If you look at do the math here, we need 30 films to make over 200 million this year to be able to bump everything else out. Now the question is it possible for that to happen? Well more than 30 films come out this year, certainly. But if we just look real quick at, say, last year, all time, worldwide last year. Let's get the worldwide last year up. And we're just, by the way, we're just vaping right now, or vaping? No. So, okay, we had a grand total of 28 films last year made over $200 million. Okay. Look, I can even contend these two definitely made over $200 million. I won't argue that. Given how big China is, I can believe that. Then in the previous year, we had, let's see here, ironically, another 28. So if we can go back to 2023, we had, mind you, we're getting closer and closer to when the pandemic happened. We had 40 films make over $200 million. And I think this is important to note this, because this is us actually very recently coming off of the pandemic. So even though statistics of less people are going to the movie theaters was still the case, it's also a case that we wanted to go back to the movie. We wanted that experience. But then you look at 2022, which was actually a really good year for the movies, surprisingly. Now, or at least not bad. You only had 25 films make over 200 million. So let's actually look all the way back to, say, 2019, where that was the year of Endgame. Let's look at that real quick. I mean, first off, you had $9 billion films. It's going to take a long-ass time for us to ever reach anything close to that again. Again, like, this is when cinema was, the movies in the theaters were rolling on all cylinders. Everything. Ironically, though, we still only had about 42 films make over 200 million. So is it possible to bring this all back around? Is it possible for us to get 30 films this year that reach over $200 million? Well, the numbers suggest absolutely it's possible. But it's all going to depend on the type of films we get, how much people go out to see them, so forth and so on. Like, if I were to say, let me get Movie Insider here real quick. If I were to look, and again, I'm really just enjoying talking to you guys. I enjoy talking movies, and I enjoy talking numbers when it comes to the movies. I enjoy stats and statistics like that. I'm not a nerd, I swear, but no. So okay, let's look at all the films coming out real quick here, and just see if we can figure out. And I'll just angle this in a way. There we go. Figure out how many films really stand a chance of making over 200. A billion is a one question entirely, but 200? Let's look this over real quick. So this is this week. Scream 7. Most of the Screams don't do that. Even that Scream 5, which I actually really liked, didn't do this. I don't think so. Hoppers definitely, I think it's almost a lock. It could make 200 million if it's good and has a decent opening. I don't see The Bride personally doing it, but it could make on, like, say, the low 200 side. So, I'll say that, sure. Not Reminders of Him, not Undertow. Project Hail Mary definitely would. Definitely could. I don't know about Ready or Not 2, personally. I'm gonna say no on that. Then obviously Mario Brothers, that's a lock. That's a lock. Let's see here. You, Me, and Tuscany, The Grey, no. Lee Cronin's The Mummy, probably not. Michael almost certainly will. So that's 5. Devil World's probably 2. Yeah, probably will. That's 6. Mortal Kombat 2, I can't gauge that. They ruined what that was the Python Hunt. I'm gonna look that up real quick. What that was the Python Hunt? They ruined the momentum they had by moving it into the summer. So they ruined that momentum they had. But B, there's no appropriate way involving a Python hunt in Florida. And it's a documentary. It's not like a movie. It's like, oh no, there's a Python hunt in Florida, but no. But yeah, no, we had no proper way to gauge how people are really going to enjoy Mortal Kombat, because the last Mortal Kombat came out during it was doing that. It was when hold on one second. I hate when something is like being slow for no reason. All right, let's get back to this. It came out during that damn stupid suicidal day and date release date that Warner Brothers did. That everyone talks about how that was so stupid on their part, and it shows just how bad the leadership really was at that point back then. Other than that, though, Mandalorian and Grogu, I do have to believe that will make it over $200 million. So we're at 7 films right now. Okay. Then we got Masters of the Universe. That could definitely do it. I don't know about Animal Friends. Disclosure Day could. It could. That's a Steven Spielberg film. Toy Story 5, that's a lock. That's a lock. Supergirl, lock. At least I hope a lock. Minions and Monsters, lock. So we're up to 12. Let's see here. Moana live action, that's a lock. The Odyssey, that's a lock. Spider-Man Brand New Day, that's a lock. So we're up to 15 there. Super Troopers, no. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Mutant Mayhem 2, probably. Okay, I'll say that's a possibility. The last one almost did it. And it's a family-friendly film. I'll say it's a possibility. Yeah. Paw Patrol Dino Movie. Look, I checked on one. Some of the Paw Patrols have made over 200 million. So I'll at least put that as a possibility. 17 we're up to, I believe. Here, let's see here. How to Rob a Bank, Practical Magic, Resident Evil. All right. Unfortunately, we are now hitting the point where I'm going to say it's probably not likely. Clayface could. It's a comic book movie. If it's good, sure. Cat in the Hat, anime film, okay. Hunger Games movie, probably will. So that's 20. And Jumanji 3, I think I'm going to say that one's probably a lock. So 21, Avengers, and 20, yeah, 20. So it doesn't look like we're in a year of anywhere near as many $200 million films. But that's just the ones that I can say look like they will make $200 million. There could very well be sleeper hits this year. Absolutely. Anyway, though, I digress. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll see you guys for the next one. Later.